My name is Richard Beaver. My rank was IC second class petty officer. Redwing was a nuclear test series in the Marshall Islands. We moved barges around, but we got to witness probably somewhere between a dozen and 15 nuclear explosions, and to witness them, to see them in the morning when they would ignite them, and it was probably one of the most memorable things to see, was seeing a nuclear bomb go off within 30 miles. That's about, we were 30 miles away, and then we would go back in, anchor in our lagoon, and go over on the beach and swim in the water all day. That's snorkel. We did a lot of snorkeling. Certain groups of us that liked to snorkel. We had our equipment from being in Pearl Harbor in Hawaii over there with the equipment there we bought, and then we went over there. We did a lot of snorkeling, a lot of fish, a lot of life in the ocean there, but everything was radioactive. The fish were radioactive. You couldn't eat them. You couldn't. We had Geiger counters, and we would check them, and they were all very radioactive, but didn't seem to bother them. And so we were, it was kind of like isolated duty, but the only thing we had was swimming and going over and spending time on the beach. But it was, they had a little area laid out for us to do that, and it was, radioactive. I mean, sand was, and said, eat the coconuts if you want, but they're radioactive. All the coconuts pull up the moisture from in there, inside the milk in the coconuts are radioactive. And so that's what we did there. And then when we had a small aircraft carrier, they call them jeep carriers or something. That was our mother ship there, and then there was two fleet tugs, some other vessels, a cargo ship, and one might have been a fuel ship, an AO or something. And then we were just part of that task force, which was, I think, Task Force 6 or something, or 7, I don't know, but it was an experience to see. Most of all, when we got the orders to go out, we would go out and circle in a certain quadrant area. It was set about 30 miles away, while the countdown came down over the radio that was in intercom, and then we would just be able to, we couldn't go out, we had to close all the hatches for a minute. A minute after the explosion, we could open up and go out and look at it, and it would be rising up off the ocean and going way up to maybe, I don't know, 80, 100,000 feet with a real bright white, blue light white, different. Some of them were different than others though. Some of them were surface blasts, some were underwater blasts, and some were aerial drops from B-52s. And so that's probably the most different thing that I might have been involved in services. Well, it's pretty awesome because it being 30 miles away, you could feel the pressure, and you could feel the ocean kick up there was air moving off from the ocean, but not a loud boom or anything, but just a snap and a pressure, more pressure than anything you could feel. Some of us, and I was one of them, went to a decontamination school in Pearl, and they taught us how to decontaminate things, and how to protect yourself from the blast, flash. The flash is the biggest thing. It would blind you if you had your eyes open looking at it in that first minute. And that's when they was critical to be looking, and so we learned that. And then we were part of the ones that went to school were part of a decontamination group that had to suit up and go check all where the fallout had come out, you know, on the ship or anything, if we had any fallout. We did one time that we had some, I don't know why, but we had a washdown system on the ship. It was the first time I ever seen PVC plastic. They installed a washdown system at Pearl Harbor, and it would cover the whole ship with water, seawater. And we worked off our fire pumps. And when we would turn on the fire pump and then direct this to the system, it would just cover the ship with seawater. But as far as having any problem with known contamination, we never, on the ship, other than in the seawater, was all contaminated. The engines were radioactive, and we would read them, and we stayed not real close to them, but you can't help but be close because you're in the engine rooms, and the ship's intakes were corroded with sea life, but they also had contamination of radioactive contamination in them. So when we came back to Pearl Harbor, they took the ship away from us, put us on a barge to live on, and decontaminate. They had to flush all the sea line, or sea intakes, and all the valves and everything, and it was gone. We weren't on it for like maybe a month and a half. I don't know for sure on that. I can't remember. I went on leave. They let me go home, so I went home with it. But it was everything was radioactive. But you know, I understand now that it's not too bad over there.